One of the major changes brought about by the communicative approach to language teaching is integrating grammar instruction with the teaching of 4 skills. Many teachers are well aware that teaching grammar in isolation should be avoided, but don't know exactly how to approach integrating grammar into their daily practice, especially when they have to follow a prescribed curriculum. Why should grammar and skills teaching be integrated? Rebecca Oxford compares teaching English as a second or foreign language to a tapestry. The tapestry is woven from many strands, such as the characteristics of the teacher, the student, the setting, and the relevant languages, that is, English and the student's and teacher's mother tongue. For the instructional loom to produce a large, strong, beautiful, colorful tapestry, all of these strands must be interwoven in positive ways. For example, the instructor's teaching style must address the learning style of the student, who must be motivated, and the setting must provide resources and values that strongly support the teaching of the language. However, if the strands are not woven together effectively, the instructional loom is likely to produce something small, weak, ragged, and pale, which cannot be seen as a tapestry at all. Besides the teacher, students, setting, and relevant languages, there are other important strands which make up the tapestry. Practically speaking, one of the most crucial strands consists of the 4 primary skills of listening, reading, speaking, and writing. This strand also includes associated or related skills, such as knowledge of vocabulary, spelling, pronunciation, syntax, meaning, and usage. The skill strand of the tapestry leads to optimal second and/or foreign language communication when the skills are interwoven during instruction. This is known as the integrated skill approach. If there is no weaving, then the strand consists merely of discrete, segregated skills because parallel threads do not touch, support, or interact with each other. This is sometimes known as the segregated skill approach or the language-based approach because the language itself is the focus of instruction, language for the sake of language. In this approach, the emphasis is not on learning for authentic communication, and by examining segregated skill instruction, we can see the advantages of integrating the skills and move toward improving teaching for English language learners. There are 2 types of integrated skill instruction: content-based language instruction and task-based instruction. Content-based instruction emphasizes learning content through language where students practice all the language skills in a highly integrated communicative fashion while learning content such as science, mathematics, and social studies. The most useful and widespread form of content-based instruction today is the theme-based model, which integrates the language skills into the study of a theme, street art, relationships, change. The theme should be very interesting to students and allow a wide variety of language skills to be practiced, all the while communicating about the theme. Task-based instruction involves students in communicative tasks in English. Realistic tasks help engage students and motivate them for learning because they immediately see how what they can learn can be practically used in day-to-day communication. This kind of instruction is learner-centered and requires students' interaction and collaboration. What can teachers do to integrate grammar and skills teaching? Research suggests that the most effective way to teaching grammar is at the point of need. This means that in a skills-oriented lesson, teachers can include grammar instruction in the following situations: when students are preparing to complete a task or an activity, while they are doing the activity and need brief input from the teacher on a particular form, after the activity to refocus their attention on key patterns or vocabulary needed to complete the activity. Integrating grammar and skills teaching requires some coursebook adaptation. Materials and textbooks used generally separate skills and grammar or do not integrate them in a way that will help students. However, teachers can modify the materials they use in order to meet their students' learning needs by augmenting the unit or lesson and adding grammar activities when and where needed, changing the focus of an activity or a task in the book, skipping parts of activities that are not necessary or helpful for students, and replacing them with different tasks which are more suitable for their students. When integrating grammar and skills teaching in context, try to identify students' needs by deciding which skill they need more focus on, which grammar item can come across better through which skill, and so on, we can choose the best approach to fulfill their needs, content-based, task-based, a combination. This is a prerequisite for effective integrated teaching. We have to be able to give the students what they need as well as what they want, and therefore choose the content for integrated teaching carefully. The lesson should be meaningful, memorable, and engaging for the students. Otherwise, if the topic isn't interesting, the students won't be motivated and no lesson outcomes will be achieved. And finally, adapt the textbook. By finding different appropriate materials other than the textbook or parts of the textbook, we are able to bring the content, the topic and the context, and the grammar item closer to students and thus optimize and maximize learning. To conclude, what are the advantages and disadvantages of integrating grammar and skills teaching? Integrating grammar and skills is beneficial because students are exposed to authentic language instead of isolated, unrelated examples, and can grasp the meaning of the purpose of using English. That is, it encourages them to engage and participate in natural, real-life communication. Teaching grammar through content also gives students a deeper understanding of both the content and the grammar structure and focus, because it requires higher-level thinking processes and helps them develop multiple skills at the same time. On the other hand, preparing for integrated lessons is pretty challenging and time-consuming for teachers who are often bound by the curriculum contents and students' lack of motivation. However, the benefits here greatly outweigh the drawbacks, so it is really worth the extra effort.